Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with another Christmas card recycling video. I made a bit of space on my really messy craft table to just record this hopefully quick video today. This is not a new card idea, but I had an idea just this morning really when I thought about what I could do with these backgrounds. If you haven't seen my last Christmas card recycling video, I put my cards into piles and I have these 3 cards, and I said I could cut out individual pictures here, but ideally I would use these pictures as a whole. So my idea this morning was to cut I'm not even called, I think it's called a puzzle card. So the idea is to cut circles from this motif that you can then swirl around to have a little bit of a puzzle, and then you can put back into place. And I have got a video on my channel where I've done this with a pig motif. So it's slightly different because that was a monochrome cardstock. So I have chosen a few circle dies from my nesting dies. Well, they're not all from one set actually. This outer one is from a different set because this is a plain nesting die, and these are the stitched ones. The dies that come with the plain ones, they have all sort of different sizes. I've been trying to find a really good nesting die set. Problem is with most of them, they are too big for my die cutting machine, and I don't want to spend a lot of money on dies that I can't use, so I'm making do with these at the moment. So the idea is to have nesting dies that have proper gaps where you can actually see the motif underneath. So I wouldn't choose any nesting dies that are too close. With a normal nesting dies, you probably get away with just choosing every other die, and I think it's nice to have a smallish one in the middle here. But the important thing for this puzzle is that you align them properly. So I have got some scrap cardstock here, or you could just use some paper. This is fairly thin cardstock, and I'm folding that in half. And then I'm folding it in half again the other way, and that gives me the center of the cardstock here. You could also use a ruler and draw that, but I find it easier. So I'm not quite sure whether you can actually see that, so let me get my pencil out and mark this for you so you can see what I'm doing. So, and what I'm doing then is I'm laying the smallest circle die down here, but make sure this is in the center, and then I'm lining up the next one, and again making sure it's sort of centered evenly around this. I'm not too bothered. I trust my eye quite a bit, but if you're not sure, you can always measure this. And I actually will at this point take my low-tack tape and already stick these two together so I don't shift these again. Just in one place will do. And then I'm placing the next one around this one, and then the next one, and tape them together so that I've got these sticking together. I would probably even put a strip of tape this way and that way just to hold them all in place. So what I can do now, just to make sure that it is actually centered, is I can measure now from the center to here. Oh, I did actually do it in centimeters, and that is just 5 centimeters and 3 millimeters. Yeah, and that's fairly even. So I should have the same on this side. 5 and 3, and then 5, and this might be a bit more, but then this might be slightly wonky, but I'm happy with this, and I think this is even. Yeah, I think that'll do me. So what I do now is I'm peeling this off here, so I'll hopefully, tell you what, put another another strip across so it doesn't come apart. What I could also use, I used that in a recent video, is my press and seal, but I think this will be fine. So I can peel this off here now, and I can now place it on my card base, which I still need to cut apart actually. With most of the cards I've taken the back off. So, and here I would like to keep the outer bit on the card base. So again, I'm making sure this is even on either side. Need to peel it off a little bit and press it down here. So I'm putting this through my die cutting machine now, and I will also cut the same from this one here. I'll be making 2 cards, but they will be the same. And with this one here, I'm attempting to use some different nesting dies. So I cut these first, and then I'm taking these apart, and I will cut every individual one without the other bits on the inside from another lot of cardstock. Probably I could use some white, but I might actually use some blue if I've got some going spare, so that I have got another disc or another circle in each of these sizes. Now that I have cut my circles here and these here, I need to glue all these on the same size as these circles. So this one goes on here, this one on here, and this one on here. I'm not gluing the smallest down just yet because we need to, I think anyway, I need to put the bread in first, but I'll find that out. So I quickly do this off camera with my magic glue. Any glue is fine for that, but yeah, I quickly do that. Whilst the circles are drying, I'm going to prepare the card bases, or rather the mats for these here. So I'm going to measure this. I need to cut them down on the bit I've cut off here, and I just need to back these with a piece that is either the very same size or slightly smaller. I think it will be easier to cut these down, to stick these down if they are the same size, rather than having a smaller piece and then it'll be a bit flimsy on the edges. So I will quickly measure these. I might have to cut it down depending. Let me just have a look. Yeah, this one's 5 inches and this one's 5 inches. So I think I just cut them down just a slither, to put them back on a 5-inch card. But I think it would look nice, especially with this one, if I had a little bit of a frame. I just realized it will actually be easier to cut these 2 pieces if I glue this down first and then cut the slither all the way around, because then I don't need to measure both pieces. Before I forget to mention that, and you're wondering what happened to this card here and these dies, I have decided not to use these torn edge nesting dies for this kind of card, because I think it will be a nightmare to match the base card and the top layer up, and this way, you know, I'm not taking the time to do that. But I've got an idea, and this will be an upcoming video, how to use these dies with this card. So, but it won't be this sort of puzzle card. So we now need to find the center of all of these circles, and the easiest way to do that is to cut the same sizes again, just from some scrap paper. I, as usual, used my football posters, and you fold these circles in half and then half the other way, so that the score line matches that score line, and that gives you the center of that card. And then I've got a piece of foam here. You could use a kitchen sponge. This is just from packaging, and I'm placing this circle on here. I will actually mark just so it's easier to see where that center is. I'm placing this on the top, and then I've got a pokey tool here. This is from my Cricut Joy. Any pokey tool would work, a thicker needle would work, and I'm just poking a hole through here. And then this means I've got a hole in the center. And I'm going to do that with all the other circles except for, again, this one, because this one doesn't need a hole. And then I'll be back. Just to show you this, it doesn't look very much in the centre, but it doesn't matter really. I'm not too worried about this, although I did measure it, but never mind about these little things. So we also need a centre in here, sorry, a hole in the centre here. So I'm just using the bigger one again, placing this down and poke a hole through here, and the same with the other one. So now to assemble these. I'm just using a standard, they call it a paper fastener, so one of these brads. I can open it. I always open it on the wrong side. Bear with me, I'll just quickly do this off camera. Didn't realise I had to pull this up, so this is how it goes. So, as I said, I'm using the standard size. You could use smaller bread. It doesn't really matter. So, and what I'm doing is, making sure I've got the right pieces here for this puzzle, is I'm starting with the second smallest. And just putting the bread through there, making sure it goes through nicely. And then through the bigger one, making sure this aligns. As I said, it looked a bit wonky, so also doesn't seem to make a full bird there, but it doesn't matter. So trying to align this, and also because obviously these are flat and these are round, you might have to twist this a little bit or make the hole a little bit bigger. You can always use another pokey tool. I've got this one here, for example, so I can poke this through. You want these to run smoothly eventually. So, and then through the biggest one. Yeah. And then this goes through the middle here. So, and if you've measured correctly, it should fit in nicely. This one could sit a little bit better to the top, so I'm just using my pokey tool. I'm just pushing this a little bit to the top, so I've got a bit of lenience there. Yeah, that's a bit nicer. So, and I want these two not to be too tight. And then what I do at the back is I'm going to use my pokey tool, or you can use your ruler. Ruler might actually be easier. And I'm putting this on the back here as a little bit of a stopper so that I don't bend this down too far, because you want a little bit of wiggle room. If you push it down too hard, it might not move that smoothly. So, and then these are movable. And see this one? Just pressing this down a little bit. See, yeah, that's fine. So, all I need to do now is put the, where is it? This one here. Oh, I still haven't glued this one down because I couldn't quite remember which way around to do it. So what I will do is I'm going to glue this together as I did with the others, and then we'll put a dot of hot glue on there and put this down here, and then I will put some foam tape around here, leave some space for this to move around. Let me just show you. So won't put any foam tape there, just like this, but I need a thin layer. The other thing you could do, and that I'm contemplating doing myself actually, is just have 2 layers of cardstock where I cut a little circle out, or you could use some fun foam. I might even do that and save a little bit of foam strips, but I've got quite a few to get rid of. So I think I could quickly show you when I've here the fun foam, the foam pads, what it would look like. If you have a problem with your discs not properly moving, this one in the middle didn't want to move, really make sure that the hole is round enough for the bread to basically move in there. And as I said before and showed you, don't make this too tight in the back. You want a little bit of room there so that these can move easily. Yeah, that's all fine now. So just to show you the back, I have just used these. They're actually thin strips. I used 2 layers, and you don't even need that much space. You don't need to go round in a circle here. I just did that, but I know it's enough cushion on the back to glue this down. So, and I just thought I'll show you this. I've got my hot glue gun here, just checking that is on some scrap paper here. It's going nicely. Yeah, so I'm just putting really just a blob on the actual bread. Let's just zoom in for you. There we go. So I could actually move it in the middle. It's probably better if, no, I'll try to do it here. Sometimes I want to do it differently and then it doesn't work out. You could also use a glue dot, but I think this will be fine now. And I'm just placing this now here down in the middle. Ensure it's straight and leave that to cool. You have some dimension here, so if you don't like the look of that, you could, rather than sitting this on top of the bread, you could poke a hole into this and have the bread on that. I might actually do that for the other card just to show you the difference, but I prefer it if I've got a continuous pattern here. And this is quite a thick bread as well. You can get thinner ones, but it's what I have in stock. So I will quickly put these onto the card bases and then I'll show you the finished cards. So my 2 cards are finished. Make sure, by the way, when you place your card down that you get it the right way around. So have a look at the back. That is obviously important, but you could have it as a top folding card. I went for a side folding card here. Yeah, and the idea is that before you hand it over, you mess the picture up, so when the recipient gets it like this, they can then figure out where the motif needs to go and have a little play with this. Oops, doing this the wrong way around to start with. There we go. And then they can puzzle the picture back together. This one feels a bit tight now. And then the middle one, this one will be a bit more difficult to work with actually, because obviously it's quite small, so you don't have to go that small. And also I might have forgotten to make the circle big enough, so just think which way around I'm moving it. See, I had to poke this through a little bit, so I'll have a little play. It's this way around. I'll make sure it moves properly. So that's a little tip from me. It's a bit too late for that, so you want it to move properly. So I think I made the circle round, but the smaller your bread, the less problem you have with that, because obviously it's a bit more round shape, whereas this one was a rectangular shape. So, and this one should be a bit easier. So there we go there. And the good thing is, if you've got an image like this where you've got the continuous pattern there as well, it'll be easier to align. The bird is a little bit cut in half, but it doesn't matter. And then this one, oops, that's come off. So, oh dear. I'll have a think about what to do. I'll tell you what I will do. Rather than just sticking it on the top here, I will put some foam tape just on that inner circle and stick it down there, because I think that was a problem. It's not enough glue there to stick it down. So I will do this off camera now, but I'm glad you saw what can happen. So if you experience the same, at least you don't curse me afterwards. So I will just put some foam on there high enough to cover the same height as this, and I will try to get the hot glue off without ruining my brand new fingernails. Yeah, but I hope this was inspiring for you and another nice idea for nice Christmas cards. I think it works best with square cards, but obviously you could have an image of the rectangular piece and then still cut out the circles out of that. Yeah, and if you like this, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see what I'm creating with my other cards, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.